Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 16th day of August, 2024, Friday of the 19th week of the year, the 19th week in Ordinary Time. We've just concluded the morning prayer for the third day of school here at our Franciscan school, getting ready to welcome all of our preschoolers on Monday. And I'm trying to find a shady spot because it is just so hot, and I'm in brown, and it's a really good combination to not sweat. And so in the shady space that I found over here is our open air classroom here at the Franciscan school, utilized many times many teachers to be able to teach as Jesus did, out in the open, and teach as Francis and Claire did. Well, Claire was most of the time behind walls. Teach as Francis did, out in the open, and to enjoy nature in our little areas around the Franciscan school. So on this Friday of the 19th week of the year, 19th week in Ordinary Time, continuing with Ezekiel. And now Ezekiel makes this fantastic statement about what Jerusalem was and what it became. And again, it's all Ezekiel's trying to wake up Israel to its situation, that it is moving into exile, if not in exile already, that it has lost everything. And basically God says, well, this is what happened. And so he uses the imagery, of a child being born. It's in this part of Ezekiel that an interesting connection is made to the Amorites and the Hittites. Again, two people who become sort of anathema, cursed, by Israel, because they are not God's chosen people. But there's always a question, Jewish people just don't come from nothing. They come from people whom God chooses and then renames. And so again, this whole idea of who Abraham was. And so these other peoples who, again, God calls from them, those who become chosen. Again, it wasn't just the Jewish people springing up out of nothing. So this interesting kind of realization through Ezekiel, that the Amorites and the Hittites, two ancient peoples who eventually will disappear from history. Remember, the Jewish people continue through thousands of millennia, or thousands of years, many millennia, to continue to be a people, whereas all the other people of the ancient world kind of have disappeared. And so from this origin came a child, and a child whom God claimed and took care of. But then as the child grew, and again, it's a woman, because again, this whole idea of bride and bridegroom, imagery. But then this woman who becomes a harlot, again, it's because this is where Jerusalem becomes unfaithful and not listening to the covenant. This kind of very sexist imagery that happens, it now falls into despair and to hopelessness, because Israel has abused itself in the same way that people who do not take care of themselves can abuse themselves. But then God says, I will still take care of you. I will remember the covenant I made with you and the care that I showed you from the very beginning, and I will make you a people once again. So in this very tough love, in this very upfront love that God has, with Israel at this moment, there is always the understanding that God redeems, that God saves, that God brings back what has fallen apart. We always must remember that in our lives, even when we face our own challenges and come to realizations that we are not where we should be or where we want to be. Everything is not lost. It is never lost. God is there always to rescue, and we have to be attentive to that. In Matthew's gospel, we have one of the great, because it's all the synoptics, one of the great discourses, one of the great speeches that Jesus gives about divorce. And again, we wrap ourselves so much up in divorce and in marriage as a church, and the question is always, should we be doing that at all? Jesus says, it's not good to divorce, but why? Why? Not because people who should live in loveless marriages, not people should live in abusive marriages, not people should continue to be hurt and harmed, in marriages. What is burdensome within all of this, and what's sorrowful to God, and that's what it basically is. It's sorrowful to God, as it really is to everyone, is that two people who professed undying love for each other all of a sudden have lost that love. And does love die? Well, with God, never. With us, yes, perhaps. But ours, ours is only partial, and God's is full. But the idea sometimes is when love dies, we fear to love ever again. And we cannot be that way. We cannot live in that way, because we will close ourselves off from anything and everything that makes us human. To be able to love is the epitome of what it means to be human. And to be afraid of that because of dejection or despair or things that didn't work out or what have you will not make us into the people God needs us to be. Things happen. Marriages fail. Divorce happens. But does that mean we stop loving? No. We have to continue to try to love, to remember what love is, and out of that love, to continue to rebuild our lives and continue to move forward in God's love. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.